Here we go. So this is what we're talking about. I wish I didn't have it. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Like that behind the ears a bit. Need some hair grips. Never mind. So we're going to start with this image and work our way back. Okay, so this is quite a big painting, a big group portrait from the 17th century. It's in the state dining room at Windsor Castle. So Her Majesty obviously likes it somewhere along the line. For me, it's just a little bit saccharine 18th century posy. Posy as in rather than. But it is quite clever, so I want to talk about it. But at the centre of this painting is really the person that we're talking about this week, which is this lady here. So this is Augusta Saxe-Gotha, who is in the centre, almost in the middle of the portrait, surrounded by her 9 children. Arguably, however, the image or the entire work is dominated by this fellow here. So this is a painting within a painting. And this is Frederick, Prince of Wales. So Frederick, if I show you the whole thing, so Frederick, Prince of Wales, and Augusta Saxe-Gotha were in fact married about 15 years before this portrait was taken, and they had a portrait was taken. Portrait was painted by a guy called Charles Phillips, by the way, or Charles Phillip, a fairly unwell-known, not particularly well-known, painted mostly portraits. Died quite young, in his 40s, I think. And I think that just, you can see that old Frederick is pointing to Augusta. Augusta is looking across at another part of the painting. So she is looking across to these fellows here, in particular the little guy in blue, and who is in turn seated under this portrait. So there's a bit of a triangle going on, and basically what's going on, so you might be thinking, okay, well, why isn't Frederick in the painting in the first place? Well, the reason that he's not in the painting in real life, as it were, is because he is dead at this point. Dead. He died quite young as well. And he died, and I'm laughing. It's horrible, actually. He died from when he had an abscess on his lung, and that exploded. Horrible. And again, he was quite young. They were just getting going with their family. They only had the 9 children. But it's thought potentially that he died from this abscess on his lung. And the abscess was caused by a cricket ball to his head. So he got hit in the head by a cricket ball, and then some months later, obviously there was some kind of a clot that caused an abscess, or I don't know, medical stuff, and he shuffled off this mortal coil. So he's dead, but still quite demonstrative. And when he died, that was obviously much to his parents, King George II, and his wife, Queen Caroline. It was much to their delight. They absolutely hated their eldest son, the Prince of Wales, Frederick, here. And I'm just going to go off on a quick tangent here. So his mother said of him, I'm not kidding, so Queen Caroline said of him, he was the greatest, liar, beast. She called him a dog, a riffraff. She was awful about him. And she said, not of his death, but she said that she wasn't afraid of dying because when she died, she could close her eyes and she would never have to lay them upon him again. Kind. So he obviously was a bit of a rogue. His son, who you can see, so you can just see the the top of him down in the bottom right hand corner now. So his son, who became George III, he said apparently when his father died that he did feel something here. So he pointed to his heart. He said he did feel something here, but then he mitigated that with the statement that he felt something here just in the way that he felt it when a couple of workmen fell off the scaffolding at Kew Palace and died. So, I mean, I'm feeling really sorry for the workmen, but I mean, so you're kind of getting a bit of a family picture here. He wasn't terribly popular. But I do want to just quickly linger on this. I think I'm looking quite good. I do want to linger on this just for a minute longer because it is quite a clever. It is quite a clever painting. So you've got the portrait of Frederick, who is obviously absent because he's dead, but is quite it's quite domineering, isn't it? Within the work, you've got Augusta in the middle. You've also got another painting within a painting over on the right hand side. And so over on the right, you've got this up above. So this is Britannia. So this is all lending gravitas to the work. So this sort of, it looks like a sort of grisaille to me. It looks like a sort of a fake relief painting, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. It doesn't exist. It's painting within a painting. It's old Charles Phillips' imagination. But so this is Britannia. So the symbol of pride and unity and so on. But then beneath her, you've got also which one do I need to look at? This one here. You can see here you've got the British lion, which is beneath Britannia. So again, it's all sort of very patriotic, isn't it? Loyalty and pride and so on. And then it's quite hard to see here, but there are a couple of, there's a book and a sort of manuscript, and they are the Magna Carta and the Act of Succession. So the Act of Succession ensuring that only Protestants could become monarch. So you've got those things on one side, so kind of all about the Constitution and gravitas, and then on the other side you've got Augusta looking towards her son, who's going to become George III. You've got the Prince of Wales, who's now gone, and so you've got the line of succession, of course, and then you've got the boys playing. Well, they're not playing. They're looking very studious with their map. George III. I think it's quite ironic, really, in retrospect, that he's pointing at a map because he was, of course, famous for two things. Most famous for being mad, in inverted commas, and secondly famous for losing all the American colonies or the British colonies in America. So the boys looking, terribly sort of looking like they're interested in states of affairs. The younger ones playing with boats and a flag there, and so it's all about empire, isn't it? Empire building, war. And then the girls, on the other hand, playing music. One's sort of looking quite coquettish, and she's sort of maybe, I don't know, looking out at us, having a little dance perhaps. But this one in the red with the dog, she is worrying me. I think I've got a better close-up of her. Let's just see if I have I or not. Oh no, maybe I don't. Okay, just look at her though. Oh, what's she doing to that dog? I think she has inherited what I'm suspecting might be a bit of a cruel a cruel streak in this family if they're so vitriolic about each other. Is she not suffocating that dog? She looks like she might have her fingers up its nose. She looks a bit demonic, if I'm being honest. So yeah. So that's Augusta. with her 9 children. I want to wind back now. This is the real the real reason that I chose her to talk about today. But I got a bit distracted when I was writing this by A, the fact that his family hated him so much, and B, the fact that Frederick got hit on the head by a cricket ball, and which basically killed him, and C, the fact that that painting had so much in it. Who knew? But yes, now let's rewind. Let's rewind 15 years, and this is Augusta Saxe-Gotha, age 16, just the year of her marriage, the year of her wedding. And this, actually, I think I told you a lie. Who was the first painting for? Sorry, the first painting was George Knapton. The big one was George Knapton. This is by Charles Phillips. So sorry about that. Whoops. But anyway, so here she is, age 16. German princess. She basically, Frederick, I think, wanted to marry somebody else that his family thought was completely unsuitable. So they're like, quick, find him a bride. She'll do. She gets shipped over from Germany. She doesn't speak English. She doesn't speak French. She arrives age 16, and before she's had time to say Guten Tag, she is like shoved, winched into a wedding dress. I'm thinking maybe not quite so much like this one, but a little bit more refined maybe. I don't think she was going for the wench look, and marched up the aisle. So poor thing, it was all quite traumatic for her. It was all quite quick. It was all quite an ordeal. She had managed to make a good impression on the King and Queen, on George II and Queen Caroline, when she arrived, because she threw herself at their feet in submission, and they thought, oh yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. But then I think the fact that she was still very publicly playing with her dollies, is my headdress falling off? No, it's fine. Publicly playing with her dollies. And she played with them once in the window of her residence, and her sister-in-law said, no, you can't do that anymore. You need to look a little bit more regal, not like a child. So stopped her doing that. So, so she was really young and really out of her depth. And so literally, I don't even know whether she'd met Frederick, but she's in a church, she's in her wedding dress, she's got, her parents aren't there, and she's walking down the aisle, and she's very near to to her future mother-in-law, and it all gets a bit overwhelming for her. And what does she do? She doesn't faint. She doesn't go into a swoon. No, she doesn't start crying. She doesn't do any of that. She pukes up. So she's in church, all down her dress, all over her mother-in-law, or future mother-in-law, because the ceremony did happen. They didn't stop the ceremony. So, oh my God, terrible marriage or what? She has to take her vows that she doesn't understand. So Queen Caroline is there by her side, translating in her ear, whilst she absolutely smells of vomit, and so does Queen Caroline, and that is how she got married. Not an auspicious start. Her life, I think, was quite a lot happier after Frederick had popped off. But yes, so final image of today is this one, which is by Hogarth, and this is also Augusta, aged 16, just the year that she was getting married. You can see the little crown there on a cushion. It's it's in quite poor condition, this one. This is in Warsaw. The previous one is actually in the National Portrait Gallery when it reopens. You can go and have a look, but it's not going to be open for a good while yet because they're renovating it anyway, by the by. So that is going to be the theme of July, which is why I have got my veil on, my wedding veil, and I have got my bouquet and my wench's wedding dress. It's a look. Hogarth, terrible marriages. What could possibly be coming next? I think I'm going to do a series throughout July. I'm going to give you a big clue. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same artist, same series of paintings. Terrible Marriages by Hogarth. Comments back on. Comments back on. There we go. Hello, James, and hello, Adrian. I don't always do a live in my wedding veil, but there we go. This one was appropriate. Oh, I quite like the look now. Look, I look like a nice little tiara. I think that's quite good. So, answers on a postcard, please. Who or which series of paintings am I talking about throughout the month of July? Very, very famous. You're going to want to know about these. Terrible Marriages. Have a great day, everybody. I'm off to obviously take off my wedding dress now. You know, you don't want to ruin it, and my veil, although I don't know, I might pop to the shops in this. And I will wish you a very, very happy weekend, and I will see you next week. Hopefully I might be able to actually access Instagram Live. Technology. Great, isn't it? Bye. Have a good week. Bye.